My sister-in-law, Chloe, was diagnosed with a rare triple womb, sending our entire family into a frenzy of joyous celebration. My mother, delighted beyond words, exclaimed, 3 wombs. Perfect. She can deliver 3 strapping grandsons for me in one go. I urged Chloe to seek a second opinion from a specialist at a major hospital. The specialist's diagnosis was chilling.Severe fetal deformities. A termination was imperative to save her life. After Chloe recovered, she was unable to conceive again. She and my mother blamed me. What triple womb? I say it's just your own barren jealousy. Because you can't bear children. And you envied my miraculous triple blessing. The Vance family legacy is severed by your hand. How dare you still draw breath? My mother and Chloe, in a sickening alliance, smothered me with pillows until I stopped breathing. Then my eyes snapped open. I was back. Back. To the very day I suggested Chloe seek a second opinion at the hospital. Slap. The moment my eyes opened, a stinging slap sent stars dancing across my vision. My mother, her face a mask of fury, jabbed a finger at me. Emily Vance. You wretched girl. You insisted your sister-in-law's triple womb would lead to deformities, urging her to visit some ominous clinic for a checkup. I say you're utterly superfluous. A pointless waste of breath. When I carried your brother and you, I never once saw a physician. And you both turned out perfectly healthy. She ranted. My cheek burned. But as I listened to mother's soul-crushing accusations, the truth slammed into me. I had been reborn. Back to the very day I suggested Chloe get a second opinion. I would not repeat that nightmare. Swallowing the inferno of rage in my chest, I covered my stinging face, forcing a placating smile. Mother, if you don't want to go, then we won't. Why get so upset? You'll only harm yourself. I merely made a suggestion. Whether to go or not is entirely your decision. Chloe, hovering nearby, fanned the flames. Now you're worried about upsetting mother. I say it's just your own infertility. Your burning envy that I'm carrying triplets. You, my dear sister-in-law, are nothing but a black-hearted wretch. As expected, mother's dwindling anger flared anew. Her hand shot up, ready to strike me again. I knew Chloe's nature. Unless I showed her some blood today, this would never end. I feigned protest, truly surrendering. Chloe, how can you say such a thing about me? All right then, to prove I'm not a black-hearted sister-in-law, I'll transfer 2,000 credits to you for the nephew's nutritional expenses. The words barely left my lips before I swiftly transferred 2,000 credits to Chloe via my comm device. Compared to my life, 2,000 credits were a paltry sum. Chloe instantly accepted, her face blooming into a wide grin. Mother lowered her arm, nodding vigorously. You're about to be an aunt. You'll need to spend generously on your nephews. My sole desire was to put this behind me. Without another word, I just nodded and smiled, finding an excuse to leave. Stepping out the door, I overheard Chloe calling my brother Brandon. She was excitedly planning a seafood lunch, mentioning rare comb claw crabs and obsidian dragon lobsters, and craving black ink broth, and then asked if she'd won the lottery. She replied, no. I just fleeced. Your soft-hearted sister. Brandon roared with laughter on the other end, praising her cleverness and efficiency, not forgetting to add 2 bowls of sea cucumber porridge to the order. Truly my wonderful brother and sister-in-law. In my previous life, even after that slap, I had insisted on taking Chloe to the hospital for a checkup. At the hospital, the specialist diagnosis was a rare triple womb. This is a severe uterine malformation. The specialist, intrigued by such a rare case, made an exception and scheduled the termination for her. But who knew? When she recovered and returned home, she shifted all the blame onto me. Mother, hearing this, went utterly insane, her eyes blazing. She lunged at me, grabbing a pillow and pressing it over my mouth. Together, the mother and daughter-in-law smothered me, Until I drew my last breath. This time I wouldn't meddle in my birth family's affairs. I would watch with cold detachment. Let's see if Chloe's triple womb can truly produce the heirs the Vance family so desperately craves. That evening, just as I was about to go to bed, Mother's call came through. The moment I answered, her voice lashed out, raining curses upon me. What are your true intentions? You transfer money to your sister-in-law, letting her gorge herself on luxuries. And now she has a stomachache. Tomorrow you'll buy her some bird's nest and shark fin to nourish her. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Bird's nest and shark fin cure all ailments. In plain terms, it was just another excuse to bleed me dry. My husband Daniel, drying his hair, chimed in, darling, why don't I arrange for some bird's nest and shark fin? Tomorrow you can deliver it to your sister-in-law. Looking at my considerate, understanding husband, I felt a pang of tears. No need. I'll buy it myself. The next day, I barely stepped through the door, gift box in hand, when Mother's feather duster swished towards me. I blocked Mother's duster with the bird's nest box. Mother, look closely. This is bird's nest. If you break it, Chloe won't be able to get her nourishment. From the bedroom, where she was secretly watching the commotion, Chloe heard this and immediately began to wail loudly. Ow! Ow! My stomach hurts so much. My 3 sons must not be getting enough nutrients. They must be craving bird's nest. Mother, hearing this, immediately dropped the duster, snatched the bird's nest, and rushed to the kitchen. Chloe, bear with it, Mother will stew the bird's nest for you right away. My 3 precious grandsons must not suffer. I handed the shark fin gift box to Chloe. Her complexion was rosy, her spirits high. Not a single sign of illness on her face. Brandon emerged from the bedroom, yawning. He glanced at me, frowning in displeasure. Emily, did you forget to buy me tea this time? I feigned a placating smile. I was so preoccupied with Chloe. Next time I'll buy you 2 extra boxes as an apology. After all, today's bird's nest and shark fin were bought from a bargain bin online store for a paltry sum. In the future, Brandon's tea could also be purchased from a cheap online store. It shouldn't cost much. Chloe suddenly clutched her stomach. Husband, it hurts so much. Brandon quickly asked. Why does it hurt again? Chloe, with a straight face, replied. Probably not enough nutrients. The boys want some premium crab. I reminded her. Chloe, pregnant women should limit their intake of rich, high-fat foods. Chloe ignored me, simply clutching her stomach and wailing about the pain. Brandon quickly said, eat what you want. No restrictions. He then told me to go buy the crabs. Chloe, clutching her stomach, told me to buy a lot, at least 10 pounds. Mother, in the kitchen, pretended to be deaf. Compared to my tragic end in the previous life, their petty schemes were child's play to me. Since they were so eager to dig their own graves, I would gladly lend them a shovel. As I stepped out the door, Chloe's triumphant voice floated from behind me. Husband, aren't I clever? Yesterday, the premium crab was too expensive for you. But today your sister can buy it for us. What a brilliant wife you are. 10 pounds should last us 2 days. After successfully fleecing me twice, Chloe became even more brazen. Every few days, she'd complain of weakness or pain. Mother doted on her as if she were a goddess, indulging her every whim. Anything Chloe herself was too stingy to buy, she'd have Mother call me for. Brandon even occasionally sent me videos of Chloe's bulging belly, bragging about his sons who were destined to inherit a fortune. In the videos, Chloe's stomach was enormous, like a balloon inflated to its maximum. But based on her gestation, she should only have been 4 months along. I couldn't resist reminding Brandon. Chloe's belly is alarmingly large. Perhaps she should see a specialist. Brandon immediately exploded. Emily Vance, what are your true intentions? With 3 sons inside, how could her belly not be big? I say it's just your own inability to conceive. And your jealousy of Chloe's triple blessing. Mother, stamping her foot, chimed in, a big belly means my grandsons are growing well. Chloe, enjoying her current life of endless indulgence, also told me to mind my own business. I stopped advising them. When Chloe was 5 months pregnant, Mother called me in the middle of the night, weeping, claiming Chloe was threatening to jump from a window, and begging me to rush back and help talk her down. I drove home to find Chloe standing by the window, roasted drumstick in one hand, a can of soda in the other, eating and drinking. Seeing me push open the door, she tossed her food, feigned a jump, and wailed theatrically, I can't bear this life any longer. One look at her and I knew she was up to her old tricks, plotting against me again. But what disturbed me more was her belly. What kind of monstrosity was she carrying? Her stomach was grotesquely distended, forming 3 balloon-like lobes. Her skin stretched thin and almost translucent. It wobbled from side to side with her movements, like a child sloshing toy. And I could hear liquid gurgling within. Seeing me silently staring at Chloe's belly, Mother delivered a sharp slap to the back of my head. Don't pretend to be deaf and dumb. Hurry and talk some sense into your sister-in-law. I tore my gaze away and asked directly, what do you want this time? Brandon rubbed his nose, a sheepish grin on his face. It's nothing major, really. Just wanted to discuss the matter of your 3 nephews' properties. My 3 nephews' properties? I feigned confusion. Mother cut Brandon off, earnestly advising me your sister-in-law is carrying triplets. And they're all boys. Don't they each deserve their own house? Your father's and mine, plus your brother's and Chloe's. And then yours. That makes exactly 3. When do you have time to transfer your property into Chloe's name, so she can rest easy during her pregnancy? In the future, your nephews will remember your kindness and take care of you in your old age. Mr. Chloe is carrying the future of the Vance lineage in her belly. There can be no mistakes. You mustn't falter now, or you'll be a sinner against our family. Chloe pointed to her belly, utterly confident in her leverage. Emily Vance, if you don't agree, I'll jump right now and you'll watch. I almost laughed with rage. In both this life and the last, they coveted my home, remembering how in my previous life they had murdered my husband for it. I knew that if I refused today, they might plot something sinister against Daniel and me. I have no objection to transferring the house to Chloe. After all, I don't plan on having children, so it will all go to my nephews anyway. Mother and the others beamed, praising my understanding and sensibility. I sneered inwardly, my face betraying nothing. It's just that the house is shared marital property. I'll need to discuss it with Daniel. Rest assured, I'll work on him. The house will definitely go to my nephews. My words were perfectly reasonable. Even Brandon nodded in agreement. Right. You do a good job convincing your brother-in-law. We need to keep our wealth in the family. Chloe, slightly displeased I hadn't immediately agreed, continued to demand more. Only when your 3 nephews are born. You mustn't be stingy. You'll need to give each of your nephews a gift of at least 66,000 credits, won't you? I almost rolled my eyes, but I readily agreed. Fine, as long as you can actually deliver them. Returning home that night, the silence of my own apartment felt like a sanctuary. Daniel was waiting on the couch, reviewing a contract. When he saw my face, he put the papers down immediately. They asked for the house, didn't they? He asked. His voice was calm, but his jaw was tight. I sat beside him, leaning my head on his shoulder. Not just asked. They threatened. Chloe threatened to jump, and Mother threatened to curse me. They want the deed transferred before the grandsons are born. Daniel let out a cold, sharp laugh. And let me guess, you agreed. I told them I'd have to convince you. I looked up at him, the fatigue washing over me. Daniel, I can't keep doing this. I need you to know the truth. Not just about their greed, but about everything. I didn't tell him I was reborn. Some truths are too heavy for even love to carry, but I told him the rest. I told him about the severity of Chloe's condition, the ticking time bomb in her uterus, and my absolute certainty that there were no babies, only monsters. Daniel listened, his expression darkening. He didn't question my medical intuition, he had seen the madness in my family's eyes for years. So, Daniel said, lacing his fingers with mine. We give them what they want. Or at least, the illusion of it. What do you mean? I have a friend in property law. We can draft a conditional gift deed. It looks official, it feels heavy, but it contains a clause that the transfer only finalizes upon the live birth of 3 healthy male heirs. Until then, it's just paper. I smiled, a genuine, vicious thing. And if the pregnancy fails? Then the contract is void, and they owe us for administrative fees and emotional distress. If we play it right, we can tie their finances into knots. The next day, I didn't go to see them. I let them stew. I let their calls go to voicemail. By the time I showed up 3 days later, they were frantic. Chloe was lying on the sofa, surrounded by wrappers. Her belly had grown even larger in just 72 hours. It was terrifying. The skin was shiny, pulled so tight I could see the blue veins pulsing like worms beneath the surface. It didn't look like a pregnant belly, it looked like an infected boil ready to burst. You're finally here. Mother screeched, snatching the legal folder from my hand before I could even speak. Did you bring the deed? I did, I said softly, standing near the door. Daniel agreed. But he insisted on a formal signing ceremony. To honor the grandsons. Chloe snatched the papers, her eyes scanning only for her name. About time. I was telling Brandon, if you didn't show up today, I was going to order 1,000 credits worth of abalone and bill it to your work account. Sign here, I pointed. She scribbled her signature with greasy fingers. She didn't read the fine print. None of them did. They were too drunk on victory. Now, Chloe panted, struggling to sit up. About that 66,000 credit birth gift. I want it in cash. Electronic transfers leave too much of a trail for the taxman. When the babies are born, I promised. I'll bring it in a suitcase. Month 6 brought the smell. It started as a faint, metallic tang in their apartment, like old copper and spoiled meat. Mother burned incense day and night to cover it, claiming it was just the smell of manly vigor from the triplets. I visited once a week, bringing cheap, high-sugar treats that Chloe devoured. Her face had become puffy and yellow, her eyes sunken. She was clearly suffering from preeclampsia or worse, but her delusion was an armor no logic could pierce. Look at them move, Brandon said proudly one afternoon, pointing his phone camera at Chloe's exposed stomach. I watched, fighting the urge to vomit. It wasn't a kick. It was a rolling, sloshing motion. 3 distinct lumps seemed to be fighting for space, but their movements were fluid, almost serpentine. Strong boys, I said, my voice flat. They're hungry, Chloe groaned. She was sweating profusely, her hair matted to her forehead. Emily, go buy me spicy ox blood soup. I need something red. Chloe, I said, pausing. Your ankles are swollen to the size of thighs. You're short of breath. Maybe we should just have a quick checkup. Just to make sure the boys are positioned right for the birth. Shut up. Chloe threw a remote control at me. It missed, hitting the wall. You just want the doctor to induce me early so they come out small. You want them weak. Get out. Don't come back without the soup. Mother rushed in from the kitchen, wielding a spatula. Get out, you jinx. My grandsons are purely resting. Don't you dare curse this house with your hospital talk. I left. I didn't buy the soup. Instead, I went to a high-end baby boutique and bought 3 tiny, black morning suits. I left them in the trunk of my car. 2 weeks later, the calls started coming at 3 a.m. It hurts, Chloe screamed into the phone. It hurts like they're chewing me. It's just growing pains, I soothed, lying in the dark next to Daniel. Drink some sugar water. It means they're getting strong bones. Really? Yes. The stronger the pain, the stronger the sons. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. In my last life, I had rushed over. I had called the ambulance. I had saved her, and she had killed me for it. Go back to sleep, Daniel whispered, wrapping an arm around me. They chose this. The explosion happened at the 7-month mark. I was at work when Brandon called. He wasn't arrogant this time. He was screaming. Emily. Come now. There's blood. So much blood. Call an ambulance, I said calmly, typing away at my computer. Mother won't let us. She says hospitals steal the baby's luck. She's trying to deliver them in the bathtub. You have to come drive us. Chloe passed out. I sighed, saving my document. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I took 40. When I arrived, the apartment smelled like a slaughterhouse mixed with a sewer. The metallic stench hit me the moment the elevator doors opened. I covered my nose with a handkerchief soaked in mint oil, a preparation I'd made weeks ago. The door was unlocked. In the bathroom, the scene was straight from a nightmare. The tub was filled with dark, viscous liquid. Chloe was pale as a sheet, unconscious, her head lolling back against the porcelain. Mother was waist-deep in the water, her hands grasping at Chloe's massive, undulating stomach, chanting prayers to ancestors who had surely forsaken them long ago. Brandon was in the hallway, vomiting. Help her. Brandon shrieked when he saw me. Mother keeps saying the heads are crowning, but I don't see heads. I looked into the tub. The water wasn't just bloody, it was black. Ink black. We need to go to the hospital. Now, I said, my voice cutting through Mother's chanting. No. Mother hissed, her eyes wild. She's almost done. I feel them. Mother, I stepped closer, ensuring my voice was recorded on the device in my pocket. If she stays here, she dies. And your grandsons die with her. Do you want to be the one who killed the Vance legacy? That broke through. The superstition of luck was outweighed by the fear of losing the legacy. Fine. But we go to the private clinic. The expensive one. You pay. I'll drive. We dragged Chloe out of the tub. She was dead weight. As we lifted her, I saw something that made even my hardened heart stutter. Her skin, it was moving on its own. Rippling. The drive was chaos. Mother screamed at traffic. Brandon cried. Chloe groaned in a delirium, muttering about lobster and shark fin. We arrived at the emergency ward of the central hospital. I hadn't gone to a private clinic. I went to the biggest, most crowded public hospital in the city. I wanted witnesses. Help. My sister-in-law is dying. I shouted, rushing into the lobby. Nurses swarmed. A gurney appeared. They hoisted Chloe onto it. How far along? A doctor barked. 7 months. Triplets, Brandon sobbed. Boys. 3 boys. The doctor palpated the stomach and recoiled. He looked at his hand. It was covered in a strange, sticky residue that had seeped through Chloe's clothes. Get an ultrasound. Now. Prep or 3. We were pushed into the waiting room. Mother paced, leaving wet, bloody footprints on the tile. They better be careful, she muttered. If they scratch my grandsons, I'll sue this hospital into the ground. Sit down, Mother, I said, sitting on a plastic chair and checking my watch. 10 minutes later, the doors burst open. The doctor who had taken Chloe in walked out. He wasn't wearing a mask of professional detachment. He looked horrified. He looked sick. Family of Chloe Vance. Here. Mother rushed forward. Where are they? Can I see them? The doctor took a deep breath. He looked at Mother, then at Brandon, and finally his eyes landed on me. He saw the calm in my face and seemed to understand. Mr. Vance, the doctor said to Brandon. Your wife, there are no babies. The silence that fell was heavy enough to crush bone. What? Brandon whispered. I saw them move. We have videos. What you saw, the doctor said, his voice trembling slightly, was a hydatidiform mole. A complete molar pregnancy. But, it's an extreme case. Invasive. The tissue, it mutated. You lie. Mother screamed, lunging at the doctor. You stole them. You stole my grandsons and replaced them with lies. Security guards stepped in, holding her back. Madam, listen to me, the doctor shouted. There was never a fetus. It is a tumor. A massive, parasitic growth of placental tissue. It grew 3 distinct lobes, mimicking a triplet pregnancy. It was feeding off her blood, her nutrients. That's why she was so hungry. That's why she was in pain. It mimicked. Brandon leaned against the wall, sliding down. We have to operate immediately to remove the uterus and the masses, the doctor said grimly. The tissue has invaded the uterine wall. If we don't remove the womb right now, she will bleed out in minutes. Remove the womb. Mother's eyes bulged. No. She needs to have more. If these ones are gone, she needs to have more. She is dying, the doctor roared, losing his patience. Sign the consent form or she is dead in 5 minutes. Brandon looked at Mother. Mother looked at the floor, muttering about 3 strapping grandsons. I stood up. I walked over to Brandon, took the pen from the nurse, and shoved it into his hand. Sign it, Brandon. Or go to prison for manslaughter. Your choice. He signed. The surgery took 6 hours. When it was over, Chloe was alive, but she was hollowed out. They had taken everything. Uterus, ovaries, fallopian tubes. She would never carry a child again. She would never produce the heirs the Vance family worshipped. The doctor came out, looking exhausted. He held a tablet. Do you want to see what we removed? He asked. Usually we don't show family, but, given the accusations of theft. Show me, Mother hissed. I want to see my grandsons. The doctor turned the screen. It wasn't babies. It was a nightmare. 3 massive, dark purple clumps of grape-like vesicles, intertwined with hair and calcified bone fragments. They pulsed slightly, even outside the body, reacting to the temperature change. They were tumors, but they were monstrous, gluttonous things that had sucked the life out of Chloe. That's them. Brandon gagged. That is the triple womb blessing you celebrated, I said quietly. Mother stared at the screen. Her face turned purple. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stared, her brain short-circuiting as her reality collapsed. Then, she turned to me. The look in her eyes was familiar. It was the same look she had when she smothered me with the pillow. Pure, unadulterated hatred. You knew, she whispered. I suggested a checkup, I replied, my voice cool and loud enough for the nurses to hear. Months ago. You slapped me. You said I was jealous. You cursed her. Mother shrieked, launching herself at me. You witch. You changed them. You turned my grandsons into monsters with your black magic. She went for my throat. But this time, I wasn't lying in bed, weak and suffocated. I was standing, and I was ready. I sidestepped her lunging claw. She crashed into the row of metal waiting chairs, falling hard. Security was on her in seconds. Get off me, she howled. She killed my legacy. She killed the Vance name. Officer, I said to the policeman who had just walked in, I had texted Daniel to call them when the surgery started. My mother is hysterical and violent. I fear for my safety and the safety of the hospital staff. Chloe woke up 2 days later. When she found out her womb was gone, she didn't mourn the babies. She mourned the house. The deed, she rasped, her voice wrecked from the intubation. The house is mine. I signed it. I stood at the foot of her bed. Daniel was beside me, holding a fruit basket that contained nothing but lemons. Actually, Daniel said, the deed was a conditional gift. Clause 4, Section B, transfer of title is contingent upon the live birth of 3 male heirs. Since you gave birth to 3 tumors, the contract is void. Chloe's monitor started beeping rapidly. You scammed me. No, I said. You scammed yourself. You and your greed. You ate yourself sick, you refused medical care, and you treated me like a servant. And now, you have nothing. Brandon. Chloe screamed. Hit her. Kill her. Brandon sat in the corner of the hospital room. He looked 10 years older. He was holding a bill from the hospital. We don't have insurance for this, Brandon muttered. The specialist surgery, the ICU, it's 80,000 credits. Emily, can you? No, I said. But you have money. You gave her 2,000 before. That was for my nephews, I smiled. I don't see any nephews here. I placed the basket of lemons on the table. I heard sour things are good for recovery. Goodbye, Chloe. Goodbye, Brandon. The destruction of the Vance family was slow and agonizing to watch, like a car crash in slow motion. Chloe was discharged a week later, but she was a pariah. The story of the monster triplets had leaked, perhaps by a nurse, perhaps by me, and the neighbors looked at her with horror. She was no longer the miraculous mother, she was the woman who birthed tumors. Mother's mind snapped. She refused to believe the grandsons were gone. She started carrying around 3 pillows, swaddled in blankets, singing lullabies to them. She would sit in the park, rocking the pillows, screaming at anyone who came too close. Eventually, the neighbors called social services. Mother was deemed a danger to herself and others after she tried to breastfeed one of the pillows in a grocery store and attacked a clerk who tried to stop her. She was committed to a state psychiatric facility. Brandon tried to sue me for the house. The judge threw the case out in 5 minutes after reading the contract and seeing the medical reports. Buried in debt from the hospital bills and Chloe's voracious spending during the pregnancy, Brandon was forced to sell their apartment. They moved into a cramped, basement rental. Chloe, barren and bitter, turned on Brandon. They fought constantly. Without the glue of the future heirs to hold them together, their marriage disintegrated into violence and resentment. 6 months later, I received a notification on my comms device. Incoming call, Brandon. I let it ring until it went to voicemail. I listened to the message later. He was crying. He was drunk. Emily, please. Chloe left. She took the last of the money. I have nothing. Mom is gone. I'm hungry. Please, just 50 credits for a meal. I'm your brother. I looked out the window of my new house, a beautiful villa Daniel and I had bought with the money we didn't spend on fake nephews. The garden was in full bloom. I deleted the message. Epilogue, new life. 3 years later. The afternoon sun filtered through the leaves of the oak tree in our backyard. I sat on a picnic blanket, watching Daniel chase a toddler through the grass. Mama, the little boy laughed, stumbling toward me.